So I'm Erika and I will be your host for this webinar. So before we start, we'd like to play the um, data privacy for the recording. So
Data Privacy Notice. De La Salle College of St. Benilde, or DLSCSB, respects your right to privacy and is committed to protect the confidentiality of your personal information, thus has adapted necessary organizational, technical, and physical measures to secure it. DLSCSB is bound to comply with the Data Privacy Act of 2012, or RA 10173, its implementing rules and regulations, and relevant issuances of the National Privacy Commission. By participating in this video meeting, conference, or webinar, you are consenting to our collection and use of information, including recording, in accordance with this privacy notice. Information is also processed via video conferencing platform Zoom. Please refer to their privacy policy at the website. The information processed, such as name, email address, your image, video, and audio, will be used for attendance, documentation, communication, and systems administration purposes by authorized individuals of department, office, or unit organizing the event, and other offices authorized to have access. We also use the information gathered from you for abuse prevention and privacy protection. DLSCSB shall only retain the said personal information until it serves its purpose, after which it shall be securely disposed of. Queries and complaints can be directed to the Data Protection Officer via email at dpo@benilde.edu.ph.
just put ourselves in the presence of Holy God. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Let us all say our Lasallian prayer. I will continue, O my God, to do my actions for the love of you. Our Lady of the Star,
Pray for
pray
us.
for us. Saint John Baptist de La Salle,
Pray for
pray
us.
for us. Saint Benilde Ramanson,
Pray
Pray for us
give Jesus in our hearts
forever.
forever.
In the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
So again, good afternoon. So welcome to our Track talks. Well, basically, again, this is our webinar especially for the apprentice course, where students will learn from our distinguished guests, mentors. Of course, they will share their stories, their experiences, their expertise, and of course, to inspire us with their stories in the professional practice. So to start formally the program, may I call on our program chair, Architect Ven Quezon, for the welcoming remarks.
Hello. Good morning to all. I'm hoping the students are in the comfort of their house. Nagchichill lang kayo dyan, guys, and everything this Saturday, or doing your ACADS. No? Thank you very much for listening in this webinar. Welcome, Architect Bong Recio, and of course, si Architect Jimmy Hermogenes. Baka nandyan na siya. And thank you for sharing your knowledge regarding about their future learning experience. Since our job is more of a continuous learning aspect, but of course in a real job environment. This term we're giving you, the students, more webinars, and this is to efficiently tool ourselves in the pandemic. Huwag masyadong manood ng Netflix para at least merong balance. Expect all your C break to be filled with webinars starting now. On July 8, it's about creative research. On July 15 is about architectural layouting and presentation. And on July 22 and 29 is a Rhino workshop po siya. So thank you to our VProd, AR Erika and AR Aldous for spearheading, and let's have a fruitful end of the term. Thank you.
Thanks, Sir Ben. Andito na rin pala si Sir Rodin. Hi, Sir Rodin.
Good morning, Sir Rodin.
Ayan, isa pang ni Sir Bong. Sir, nakamute ka.
Hi, Bong.
Hi.
Nice to see you in blazer and shorts.
Alright, so I want to also acknowledge the presence of the other guests, Ms. Pompey. Sino pa ba? First, we'd like to thank our very own Sir Aldous, who's always been there to help us with the technical aspect of the webinars. Of course, the students, I see more and more coming. Please tell your classmates to come in already. You start. So now we move on to the introduction of our first speaker. So Sir Bong, chill ka muna dyan. Papakilala ka lang muna si Sir Jimmy. Then we'll proceed to his presentation, and then next will be I'll introduce you and then your presentation. Then later on, we'll have Q&A. You and Sir Jimmy para mas interactive sabay kayo. Alright? So, about architect Jimmy Hermogenes, I'm sure a lot of you know him already, but currently, about Sir Jimmy, he is, of course, a planner and an architect. Sir Jimmy is currently, previously, kasi July 2 na, ayan, District Director of B3, UAP B3, and past President of the United Architects of the Philippines Makati Chapter, the oldest Makati Chapter. A member of the Council of Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat, and the Philippine Institute of Environmental Planners, or PIEP. He was a member of the jury for the MMDA Building National Design Competition. During his more than 25 years in the practice of architecture, he worked with planners, designers, and consultants, PDC Inc., GF and Partners, of course, Recio and Casas, Cadiz International, TI Vasquez, Architects and Planners, before starting Hearth Group in 2019. During these days, he was part of the teams that worked on projects such as Alabang Town Center expansion, Glorieta 4 retail redevelopment, Greenbelt 3 and 4 redevelopment, the Shang Grand Tower, Bellagio 3, Toby Sports Headquarters, the Bayleaf Intramuros, and Lyceum of the Philippines Cavite Campus. Wow. Sobrang big time ni Sir Jimmy. Architect Hermogenes is a graduate of the University of Santo Tomas and passed the architecture licensure exam in 1994. And he was awarded the most outstanding trainee during Taisei Corporation's 1995 AOTS program, and awarded the trip to Tokyo to further expand his knowledge of architecture. He took his master's in Business of Administration at Ateneo de Manila Graduate School of Business. And as part of his MBA journey, he took the European Studies and Culture and Communication subjects at the École Supérieure des Sciences Commerciales de Angers in Angers, France. He's also a photographer and has been a member of the Camera Club of the Philippines since 2015. That's why he can't do a live presentation, because he has an event for this club today, but he'll be here at 2 p.m. And his photos have been published on Future Art and Archicons magazine. 3 of his photographs also have been selected by Sofitel Plaza for the exhibition with other images from the CCP. And Jimmy won third place at the 2013 NCCA Contemporary Philippine Architecture Photography Competition. And lastly, and definitely is proud of, he is a professor of architectural design and professional practice at the Salle College of St. Benilde School of Design and Arts, and he's also an AutoCAD accredited trainer at the MicroCAD Technologies for 8 years. And he's also a writer and has written articles for Blueprint, The Skyline, and UAP Makati Chapters newsletter. So I give now the floor to Sir Jimmy. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good morning or good afternoon. No, since this is recorded, I'm not sure what time this will be playing. So good day, no, everyone. So thank you to the SDA for inviting me, and thank you to Ma'am Erika and Sir Ven, no, for inviting me to give a talk, no, today about small firms. So, and thank you for joining the webinar to the students. No, I hope you learned something from this talk. So, without further ado, I'd like to share my screen, no, and start my presentation. Let's see, share screen. Okay, so this is a poster from a movie from 1998. So I think hindi pa kayo pinapanganak at the time, no? So it says size does matter, no? So it's a movie about Godzilla, no? So the huge monster, no? So of course we're not talking about Godzilla today, but we're talking about the size of firms, no? So big or small, firm size does matter. So where should we go, no, after graduation or for OJT? Ano bang pipiliin nating firm? Should it be a small firm or should it be a big firm? So we'll try to give you some insights on what happens in a small firm, no? Because I'm running one now, a firm of 6 people. So I'll tell you how things go in a small firm, so you know what to expect, no? For big firms, I think, of course, Architect Bong Recio will be discussing on that after my talk. So first, let's define small, medium, and large firms. So small firms usually have 1 to 20 employees. No, that's according to the AIA. No, but some people, if you browse through the internet, some say small firms are up to 50 people, no? Maybe in the US, no? But in the Philippines, medyo malaki na yung 50. It can be considered as medium, no? So mid-sized firms range from 20 to 100 employees, again, according to the AIA. But some would say 50 to 150 is medium size. So syempre iba nga siguro ang American standard, no? But in the Philippines, if you have 100, medyo malaki na yun i-manage, no? And of course, large firms have more than 100 employees. Again, some say large firms are 150 and up. So the point is, walang masyadong strict definition kung ano ang small, medium, and large firms. But of course, generally, we know that mga 1 to 10 is small. So ang contentious na yung mga 20 to 50, mid-size ba yan o dapat ba 100? So, but of course, we know that 200 and up is a large firm, no? Parang ganun. Yung middle lang ang medyo undefined, no? But anyway, we will be talking about small firms. So that's 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, no? So there's this architect, no, famous architect, Maya Lin, no? So she said, I deliberately keep a tiny studio. I don't want to be an architectural firm. So ayaw niyang lumaki, no? Even if she's famous, no? She became famous because of she won the design contest competition for the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. No? So, and she was not even a graduate at that time yet. She was still studying architecture and she won the competition. No? So kaya sikat siya up to now. No? So why would she want a tiny studio? Why doesn't she want to become an architectural firm? Because she wants to remain an artist. So yun minsan yung nagiging ano ba, parang typecast ng small firm, medyo artsy studios, no? Pagka smaller firms. Okay. And on the other side is the big firms. So si James Stewart Polshek, he's one of the bigger firms in the US, no? So sabi niya, a question frequently asked is, how do you do all that work, no? That wonderful work. So ang sabi niya, easy, I don't, no? So of course, in bigger firms, the principals cannot do all the work, no? They do not do all the work kasi malalaking projects, no? They have assistants, they have associates, they have junior architects to do some of the work for them. So they don't do all the work, no? So it's talagang teamwork, group work talaga ang architecture, especially for the bigger firms. And so the question now is, what's the best firm size to get into? Of course, for you guys, for those who are graduating or those looking for OJT, saan ba maganda? Sa maliit na firm o sa malaki? So, well, you decide. We will just provide you with insights on what goes on in a small firm and later what goes on in a big firm. Okay, so I'll do that. I'll explain how I got here running a small firm, no, by just a short story about my career, how I got here, no. So I started with, after graduation, I started with PDC, Planners, Designer, Consultants, under architect Danny Bunag, no. So we had about 25, 30 pa iba-iba employees. So it was a medium-sized firm, no, I think. And inabutan namin yung mga drafting table, no, technical pen, pencil, doing work. So at that time, we were doing smaller projects, no, mga cottages sa Baguio Country Club, sa Subic Bay, no, and we were doing manual drafting. But at the time, I've been hearing yung CAD, no, ito na yung CAD, dadating na yung CAD. So I studied, no, at MicroCAD, but unfortunately, the firm was not ready to migrate to the technology. So I thought I should look for another job, no, where CAD is being offered. So I moved from a medium-sized firm into a bigger firm, one of the biggest, in fact, in the country at that time, no, GFN Partners Architects. So they were offering CAD, and I have learned CAD, so I got accepted, but partly because I had a friend there, no, may isang friend na naman ako doon. So I was assigned to do CAD work for Glorieta 4, no, yung mall. And then after that, I was assigned to Alabang Town Center expansion. And then later, as job captain, no, promoted, I headed the team doing the CAD work for Greenbelt 3 and 4. No? So it was really a fun experience, a lot of learnings. I learned a lot from the firm. Doing the malls, no, doing retail, the 3 large malls of Ayala, no, at that time. So it was very rewarding, no. So I stayed there for 6 years. I enjoyed it, but later on I realized I did not know how to design, no, kasi nga pag dumating yung project sa amin, merong foreign consultant, naka-design na siya. So we did not know, kasi CAD operator kami, hindi kami umattend ng presentations, no. So we did not know bakit nandiyan yung elevator, bakit nandiyan yung stairs, paano ba yung, ba't nandiyan yung public spaces. We did not know all the reasons behind the design. So na-realize ko later na hindi pala ako marunong mag-design, no. Marunong ako mag-CAD, mag-production work, pero design parang after 6 years, parang hindi masyado, no. Especially elevations. Paano bang gagawin yung elevations? Paano maganda? Paano ba yung proportion, no? I wasn't parang trained, no, with that. Pero magaling ako mag-production, no, I can say that. So having realized that, I thought dapat maghanap ako ng work na matututo ako mag-design. No? Gusto ko design. Fortunately, yung Greenbelt 2 was being designed by another firm called Recio and Casas. So we had, parang kasama namin sa site yung mga taga Recio and Casas. And then one day, sabi nung staff nila, may opening sa amin sa design, baka gusto mo. So of course, I grabbed it. No? So I went, I applied, and I got accepted with Recio and Casas. So first, we were doing yung Eastwood pa, no? Eastwood, Eastwood Mall. So part of the design. But then I think they realized na magaling ako sa production. So they reassigned me to Shang Tower. It's a 45-story condominium in Makati. So I thought hindi siya design work kasi may foreign na naman architect, no? PNT from Hong Kong. But I thought, pero iba to, high-rise, no? Yung ginagawa ko dati, puro malls, 4-story, 5 stories. Pero ito, this is 45 stories. So I thought, okay then, I will learn from this, no? Doing high-rise. So I finished the project as the CAD lead, no? And then I was assigned again to another high-rise condominium, Bellagio 2, no? In Fort Bonifacio. And then at that time, we started, the firm, no? Recio and Casa started training for Revit. So I was part of the team that first studied Revit in the firm. So, but then again, I realized nasa production na naman ako. Gusto ko talagang maghanap ng design. So at the time, I transferred to another firm, no? Pero hindi ako masyadong matagal doon. Iba yung schedule, yung working schedule, yung work-life balance. So parang 3 months lang I resigned and I thought mag-freelance na lang ako, no? Freelance work. So I did that for a year, no? Okay naman, I was earning, pero I knew I was not learning kasi mag-isa lang ako no? I had no one to talk to discuss, no, issues about design, architecture. I had no one to ask pag may problema dahil wala akong boss. So fortunately, being part of the UAP Makati chapter, no, I was secretary. The president at the time was Topi Vasquez. So we were talking, sabi niya, ano ginagawa mo? So sabi ko, freelance. Sabi niya, baka gusto mong kunin to, freelance, i-outsource kasi yung project ko school, no? So sabi ko at that time, school, madali lang to, no? Box, copy, typical floors, not knowing that he was designing the Lyceum of the Philippines in Cavite, no? So if you're familiar with that, I got ahead of myself, no? Before going to Topi Vasquez, this is one thing I learned, no, from Recio and Casa, actually from architect Bong. So one day, Bong was talking to my seatmate, no? Sinasabihan niya na parang bakit matagal? Ba't ang tagal gawin? Ganyan. So sabi niya, we are corporate architects. We don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. No, so I remember that kasi sabi ko tama naman, ano? There are things, especially for corporate architecture, no? High-rise buildings, commercial buildings, may mga details na pwedeng ulitin na lang, no? Hindi na kailangang imbentohin every time, no? Example, mga fire exit, railing, handrails, di ba? Hindi siya parang kailangang isipin mo every project. So maganda yung, I remember that, no? And I use that, no, especially with our staff, na we have to be efficient, no? We have to work efficiently, no? Yung hindi lahat kailangan i-design natin from scratch. Okay? So after that, ayan, 2005, I thought mag-freelance muna kaya ako, no? So yun nga, I did, and then I met Topi Vasquez through the UAP. So we were designing the Lyceum of Cavite, na very complicated pala yung plan, yung shape ng roof. But eventually, we succeeded kasi nga I was very well trained with CAD, with production. So we did it, no, successfully naman. So ang maganda dun sa firm ni Topi, we were doing design, we were doing production, we were going to the site, no? And we were doing different kinds of projects, hotels, schools, houses, condos, high-rise, no? So that's why I stayed there for 12 years. Kasi very varied yung experience. Topi was really fun to work with. We learned a lot from him. Excuse me. Yan. So I stayed there for 12 years. Now it's a medium-sized firm. Yan. Next. Ang isang natutunan ko kay Topi is he always said, no, never burn bridges. So I don't know who yung kasi yung original, but he always said that, no, never burn bridges. Okay? Which I realized much later on na talagang it's true, no? So that's why I'm sharing it with you guys, no? Ayan. So after 12 years with Topi Vasquez, no, I thought again mag-set up uli kaya ako ng firm, no, pero hindi na mag-isa, hindi na freelance. I wanted to set up a firm, yung may kasama, no, so we will all learn together, grow together, no, career wise. So I took up my master's in business administration at the Ateneo because one of the reasons was when I was in college, sabi ng prof ko during midterm grade consultation, di ba? Sabi ng prof, tinitignan ko yung grades mo sa yung mga major plates, yung gagawin mo for a month or 2 months. Sabi niya, mataas yung grades mo sa major plates. Pero yung esquisse, mababa yung grades mo sa esquisse. So sabi niya, you're a good designer, but a bad manager. Sabi niya, you cannot think well under pressure. Kaya yung esquisse mo mababa. Pero given time, okay ka naman, sabi niya. So work on that, no? Yung work better under pressure. So to become a better manager. So yun yung lagi ko iniisip. I should study management siguro para so I can improve that, no? So thanks to my prof for that comment, na-inspire ako mag-MBA. And so during MBA may mga courses doon na magpe-present ka ng mga proposals, no? Your situation in your career, ganyan. So of course I was proposing setting up my firm, my own firm, and I got a lot of encouragement from my professor. Sabi na, gawin mo yan, okay yan, no? So eventually I did, no? So I established Hearth Group in 2019. No, 2019 we started, and of course the first thing you have to do to start a firm is to find people, no? Pinaka-importante naman mga tao. So we have 6 people in the firm including me. Ayan. So the first person I approached was Grace, no? I worked with her at the Vasquez. So bakit ba't siyang naisip ko? Number 1, super talino, no? Magaling. As in fresh grad siya when we were working together, pero kaya niya mag-handle ng project. So I thought baka gusto niya, no? So she took the boards and was number 6, no? Top notcher sa board. She's very good in management, in Excel, in whatever software, no? In BIM. Magaling siya. So fortunately, she agreed to join, no? To join us. And then the other guy I asked is Ian, the guy in the third picture, no? Ian Toysa. So siya naman, he also teaches in TIP and he has a master's degree in construction management. So I thought, okay na tong core group na to, no? Merong magaling mag-manage, magaling sa mga, well, hindi naman magaling mag-manage pa. Nag-MBA, no? Hindi pa magaling, but trying. And then merong magaling sa production, sa ArchiCAD, and then merong magaling sa construction management. So I thought, okay na siguro. So the next thing we need were junior architects. So we posted, no, hiring. So the first set, okay naman sila, the first set of applicants, but they only lasted 3 months, no? For other reasons, ang isang sinabi nila is sabi nila, we were a small firm, but we were acting like a big firm. So, paano nangyari yan? Small firm, pero like a big firm. Kasi, of course, I went to work for almost 20 years in big firms, no? So, na-adapt ko yung mga practice nila, yung time consciousness, no? Yun nga, efficiency. So, we were adapting those practices even if we were small, no? Na mahigpit sa attendance, sa punctuality, may dress code, no? Kasi pag humarap ka sa client, dapat syempre presentable ka, mga ganyan. So sabi niya, they were looking for a small firm na parang yung culture, small firm din, parang barkada, yun ang mga term nila na hindi masyadong mahigpit sa time, pwede papasok ka ng 10 a.m., uwi kang 10 p.m., mga ganun ang hinahanap nila or idea nila sa small firm. Well, many other small firms are like that, no? Yung mas relaxed, no? Mas relaxed yung atmosphere, but not our firm, because our vision is to grow. Our vision is not to remain a small firm like Mayalin. Our vision is to grow bigger, no? At least mid-size sana in the future. That's why we are adopting the practices of the bigger firms, no? So yun yung reason nila ba't sila umalis, dahil they were looking for a different kind of culture, no? So again, we search for candidates, no? And then yung exam, yung fourth picture, si Eton, dun sa batch nila na nag-exam, siya yung pinakamababa sa CAD, no? Tinitingnan namin yung iba, natapos yung exam, siya hindi masyado. But during the interview, we felt his eagerness, yung positive attitude towards work, no? Towards learning. And parang nakita namin may potential. So pinag-usapan namin nila Grace. So what do you think? Yung iba ang galing mag-CAD. Pero eto hindi siya magaling, pero iba yung dating, no? Iba yung personality niya sa interview. So sabi namin, sige, let's try it. Let's follow our gut feeling, no? So yan, kinuha namin si Ethan, and 3 years later, we never regretted having picked him, no? Yung potential nga andun. And then when we teach him, he learns fast. He's very cooperative, very dependable. He can make good decisions on his own. No, so we never regretted it, no? So he's still with us after 3 years. And then the next picture, si Pam, well, she's been with us for a year na, no? So she's from UST. She came from a big firm. She came from IDEA, but apparently during the pandemic, she was not allowed by her parents to go to the office. Pero at that time, there was a time na pinababalik na sila. So she had to resign kasi sabi ng parents niya, hindi pa safe, no? So she applied with us. Tinanong na muna, papasok na ba kami sa office? Sabi ko, hindi, hanggang merong pandemic, work from home tayo, no? So we accepted her, and then she's still with us after a year, no? And then she recommended our newest employee, mga 6 months pa lang siya sa amin, si Alain, no? The last guy. He's also a cum laude in UST, so magaling din. So sabi namin, kahit konti tayo, pero dapat lahat efficient, lahat magaling. Then we can do our projects well, no? Kahit konti, basta quality people, no? So yun ang isang importante sa firm. Kahit maliit kayo, dapat lahat efficient, lahat dedicated, lahat passionate, no? So when it comes to the office, syempre maliit din yung office, no? Kasi 6 lang kami. We cannot afford to pay for a bigger office, no? So just the basics, desk, computers, basta powerful yung computer to do BIM, so okay na yan, no? So yung isang applicant nga, no, nag-apply, and then we had ina-update namin yung presence namin sa internet, no? Yung website, yung Facebook, Instagram, we try to post regularly, no? So sabi ng isang applicant, sir, akala ko malaking firm kayo. No, kasi based sa mga nakita niya sa online. Pero sabi ko, na-disappoint ka ba? Hindi naman, sir. Okay naman. Okay naman ang small firm din. So, yun. Anyway, you can project na malaki ka, no, bigger than what you are, no? online. So ayan, this is our small office. Pag tumalikod ka, pinto na yan going out. No? So this is just us. So isang problem pag small office is wala kaming conference room. So when we had this visitor, no, from Canada, so he was offering a work, no? He was offering outsourcing work to us from Canada, kaso wala kaming conference room. So sa floor kami nagdi-discuss. No? So we realized kailangan yata natin ng conference room, no? So on the right side naman, we were recommended by former colleagues at TI Vasquez. So sabi nga, never burn bridges. So naalala niya kami na naghahanap yung magazine ng may interview na small firm. So sabi niya, ito, puntahan mo, tawagan mo si Jimmy. No? So the magazine went to our office, interviewed us, and then yeah. So again, never burn bridges. So they bring you good connections. So si John din, yung guy na nagbibigay ng project from Canada, sa GF siya initially pumunta, no? He went to GF and Partners, offered the project, outsourcing, kaso houses. So ayaw yata ng GF ng houses. So hindi siya, parang hindi interested dun sa project. So nagtanong siya dun sa mga tao sa GF, no? So fortunately, handun pa yung mga friends ko, sabi niya, itry mo, pinapunta niya sa akin. So sabi ko, okay, sure, of course, we'll do that. So up to now, 3 years later, we're still doing houses in Canada. No? So hindi naman buong house, we're doing the framing, no? Parang may special software sila to do the timber framing. So it's been 3 years, it's parang ano siya, at least meron kaming regular income, no? Small houses, they send us the plans and then we do the framing and then send it back to them. No? So ayun. So again, never burn bridges kasi si John was recommended to me by my friends in GF and Partners. Okay. So realizing that we needed an conference room, so I have another unit in the same building na for rent sana. Pero sabi ko, gawin na lang nating conference room na pwedeng expandable as our future office pag nag-expand tayo. No? And then in the evening, dapat convertible siya sa playroom, game room, or KTV room. No? Para day and night may function siya. And then we have our own place na pag-gimmick mas mura kasi bili na lang tayong drinks, snacks, pizza, okay na, di ba? Unlimited time pa. So that was our goal. So we did it, we designed it, we built it. And then for our first anniversary, we were supposed to have to celebrate there, no? First anniversary. Unfortunately, the week itself ng anniversary, nag-lockdown for the pandemic. No, so we celebrated our first anniv online, no, sa Zoom. No? And then of course, it took 2 years, so second anniversary sa Zoom pa rin. No, so but we were working minsan 3 days a week na lang dahil walang ang project, no? Minsan 4 days a week. Pero sabi nga ni Jack Ma, no, if you survive this pandemic, you've already profited. So iyon ang aim namin. No, we just survive this and then we will move forward after. No? So thank God we're still here and then things are getting better, it seems. No? So ayan, we're still here and hopefully we have profited already. Ayan. So in terms of professional experience naman, no, since maliit kami lahat gagawa. So we do our own specs, wala kaming specs writer. It's us. We go to the site ourselves. We do, of course, the ArchiCAD. Well, yung dog nakatingin lang, no? What else? We do as-built. We go to the site, measure them ourselves. And then pag merong out of town, kami rin, of course. The second picture is us in Bukidnon for a project in Bukidnon. And then the other one is building in Manila. So ang maganda, you can go out of the office once in a while, get out of the city once in a while for projects, no? Kasi walang ibang gagawa kami-kami lang, no? And then the types of projects, mostly, of course, residential projects pag smaller offices, no? Kasi yung mga big firms, I don't think it's profitable for them to do houses, no? So most of the time, the clients for houses go to smaller firms, no? So we're doing a house in Antipolo, in Baguio, no? And then ito pa isang example ng never burn bridges, no? Yung second picture is a house in Baguio from maybe 6 or 7 years ago. So hindi siya natuloy, pero nabigay ko yung design sa client, no? Nabigay ko sa client, pero hindi na ako nabayaran, so masama loob ko kasi nakuha niya yung design, walang bayad, no? Then 7 years later, which is this year, no? Tumawag siya ulit, architect, kamusta na? So syempre I remember the house, the unpaid, no? Unpaid design. So sabi niya nagka-problema pala dun sa lot, no, hindi natuloy dahil kine-claim na ancestral land, so hindi niya napatayo yung bahay. But he bought another land na magpapatayo siya uli ng malaking bahay din, no? So this time natuloy na, binayaran ako. So again, kahit masama loob mo for the previous experience, we were cautious, no? Sabi namin baka mangyari na naman 'yun, no? So we were cautious, down payment muna, no? So when he did make the down payment, that's the only time we release the drawing, no? So kasi nga we learn from experience, no? So we're doing this house now, the one on the right in Baguio. What else do we do? We also do viscos, no? Yung maganda rin yung mga chain of restaurants. Again, maliliit pero at least sunod-sunod, no? So we're now doing our third and fourth branch of viscos. And then yung nasa right, ito yung BC Framer, no? The one from Canada. So they've been sending us 2 to 3 houses per day, no? To do the framing, not just the framing on special software. And then what else do? We had the chance to do a 10-story building, no? In our first year, we have been recommended by another friend from UAP, no? He had a Malaysian client who wanted to build a 10-story building, so we designed it for him. Unfortunately, tinamaan din ng pandemic, so hindi pa rin siya natuloy. And then we have, on the second picture, we have a seaweed factory, no? So who would imagine a seaweed factory pero ganyan itsura? Kasi yung owner was advocate for sustainable design. So the site is in Bantayan Island in Cebu. So sabi niya, ayaw kong sirain yung island with factory na yung alam mo yung regular look ng factory. Sabi niya, gusto niya nagbe-blend sa site. So seaweed factory that could look like parang a barn, no, parang gano'n. And then since may drying area yung seaweed plant, no, yung top, yung roof, ginawa na yung parang greenhouse para mainit, 'di ba? Matutuyo kagad yung seaweed, no? And then the third picture is a building in Parañaque, so we're still doing this under construction. And then this last example of what we do, small projects pa rin, no? So this is a mausoleum for my brother, pero buhay pa siya, no? He's just preparing for forever, no? So he had a mausoleum designed and constructed. So ito yung dito pumapasok yung kami as artists, no? Parang sculpture ang mausoleum kasi, no? It can be very expressive, no? And then yung budget medyo mas malaki kaysa sa normal project, so we enjoy doing this, no? We love the result, no? It's a mausoleum pero ang tinry naming i-project na idea is yung resurrection. It's not the death that's important, but the resurrection. So yun yung theme niya, no? So it's supposed to be the modern interpretation of the cave where the resurrection happened, no? Kaya nga yung sinabi ng angel doon, he is not here, he has risen, 'di ba? And then we entered this project sa Architizer Awards. So first we got an email na sorry, your entry did not win, and then 2 days later they said but you got a special mention award, which means it's among the top 5% score of all the entries, which okay na rin. Happy na rin kami na merong ganong badge, no? So yan, those are the projects that come our way as a small firm, no? And manageable pa. So ang minsan problem, like last week merong nag-recommend na naman, again recommendation, we parang di kami masyadong ma-market kasi yun, connections, network, they recommend to us projects and contacts. Merong nag-approach sa amin, smart hospital, 28 stories. So sabi namin, nag-usap kami, hindi natin kaya 28 story, 6 lang tayo, no? Tapos gusto nila may dedicated staff, no, for the project. So we had to decline, no? Kahit maganda yung offer, mahirap mag-expand para doon, no? Kasi ite-train mo pa yung bagong staff. So we had to decline kasi it's too big for us, no? The project is too big for our resources. So in terms of setup, so wala kaming department obviously kasi kami lang 6 lang, no, walang accounting department, walang ano ba? Walang support staff, walang driver, messenger, no? Kami lang, walang specs writer. So it's just us, whatever we need to do, kami 'yon, no? So yun ang setup. Unlike of course the bigger firms na pwedeng may mga departments. In terms of career growth, iyan ang siguro problem. No, sabi ni IMP, an architect never retires. No, so if I'm 52, medyo matagal pa yung retirement ko. So paano yung career growth ng mga junior? Aakyat ba sila? 'Di ba? Or since maliit kami, baka magsawa sila, magre-resign, and then I will hire new architects ulit, no, young architects ulit that I can afford. So that's a problem kasi you never stop training, you don't benefit from the training you give. Kasi pag na-train mo sila, aalis sila, no? Pero merong tinuro sa school, sa MBA, sabi nila, sabi nga ng iba, huwag masyadong ite-train kasi aalis lang naman yan eh. Iiwanan ka rin yan pagka marunong na. Yun yung philosophy ng ibang managers, di ba? Pero sabi, so if you don't train them and they stay, what happens? 'Di ba? Kaya sabi, dapat i-train mo. Pag umalis, edi good luck to you, then train people again. Ang mahirap, hindi mo tinrain tapos nag-stay, 'di ba? So sa amin, yun, we train, we mentor, and then hopefully they stay because they like working with us. Pero hindi lang 'yan eh. Of course, yung growth, no? And then of course, financial reward. So what we're thinking is that this small company will become an employee-owned company. So when the time comes na pwede na kami magbigay ng bonuses, no, for deserving employees, we will offer shares. Would you like your bonus to be in cash or in shares para magstay? No, so it's an experiment. We don't know if it will work, but you know, Arup is an employee-owned company. Yung engineering firm, it's an employee-owned company, and people stay there, no, for most of their lives, their career. So it's an experiment we're doing. Can we make it work in our firm? No? So yun yung career growth. But for other smaller firms na walang ganung vision, medyo stagnant yung career growth. No? So when you're applying for a small firm, yun yung isang titignan niya. And then ito ang surprise sa akin when I started the firm. No? Administration and finance. So of course, contracts kami gagawa. Yung mga provisions kami gagawa. Of course, in the earlier projects, marami kaming error, nakalimutan, lugi, no? But of course, we learn. And then ito, yung pagbayad sa Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, SSS, BIR, pagpila sa bank. Since wala kaming messenger, ako yun, no? So, madalas ako nasa bayaran, no? Pero ngayon, tinuturuan ko na sila, ikaw na magbayad nito, no? Dine-delegate na. No? But there are times na ako pa rin, especially pandemic, no? Work from home. And then, HR, kami rin yan, no? So, yung time mo as architect, nahahati talaga sa administrative work pag small firm. If you want to establish your own, or if you're part of a small firm, ayan, kasali yan, HR, kayo-kayo rin yan. So, as learning from the bigger firms, we still do staff evaluation, no? 360, they evaluate us, we evaluate them para we know where the problems are, no, so that they can be corrected, no. So HR, so we do the interview, hiring, exams, evaluation of the staff. We organize the outing, no. Ako rin yun, kahit yung outing, ako yung driver. No, so ganun talaga, we're small, eh, no. We make it work, no. And then ito pang isang wala, ancillary services support, no? Wala kaming messenger, so if we need to bring anything, well, buti nga may Grab na ngayon, no? Before siguro ang hirap, no? Ikaw talaga. Pero buti merong Lalamove, Grab. Pero yung blueprints, kami nag-ayos ng blueprints, no? Wala kaming mauutusan na bahala ka na diyan, no? Kami rin yung magso-sort, magso-staple, magro-roll, magfo-fold, no? And then pati yung pag-assemble ng tables, kami yun, ako yun, no? When I was starting, ako nag-assemble ng tables. And then during the operations na, wala kaming janitor, no? So minsan tinanong ng staff, sir, sinong naglilinis ng office? Kasi wala silang nakikitang janitor, di ba? Sabi ko, si Eddie. Sinong Eddie? Eddie ako. No, lumang joke, old joke. So ako naglilinis after they leave. Dahil wala kaming janitor, ako yung maglilinis ng office, no? Hindi kasi kasama sa package nila, no? So tinanong ko yung ibang friends ko na may small offices din, paano yung cleaning ng office nyo? Sabi niya, pag nag-interview ako, sinasabi ko sa staff, maliit lang tayo kasama yung paglinis sa trabaho, ha? Sinama niya sa job description. So I don't know if it will work for others, or ikaw pag sinabihan ka ba, papayag ka ba, no? Kasama yung cleaning. Ang sinabi ko lang sa staff ko during the interviews, maliit tayo, wala tayong janitor, yung toilet, clay go, no? Clean as you go yung toilet. Okay, dahil tayo lang nandito, make sure everything's dry, everything's clean before you go out. No? And then of course, yung kitchenette, ganun din. Don't leave any unwashed dishes, unwashed cups in the kitchenette, no? Kasi yun nga, walang tagalinis, no? So tayo rin yan. And then, I think last na ba to? Office culture. So sa malalaking offices, masaya, di ba? Kasi ang daming tao eh. Lalo yung mga parties, talagang production number yung mga Christmas party nila. But for smaller offices, kami lang, 6 lang. Well, isang group lang yan. Kung group, wala. No? So parang very simple celebrations. Yung Christmas exchange gift or KTV, no? Mas simple, mas maliit yung mga celebrations, no? Kasi kami lang. And then, yun nga, sabi ng isang nag-resign din, gusto niya yung marami siyang kausap, no? Marami siyang choices ng barkada, pero pag small firm, kung sino yung nandyan, yan na yan. Yan na yung barkada mo. Or yan na yung office mate mo. Pag hindi kayo magkasundo, wala kang magagawa. Katabi mo eh. Di ba? Magkakatabi lang kami. So, yun ang difference pag small firm. You have less options na kung sino gusto mo maging friends, no? Ayan. So in our office culture, isa pa, what we do is I learned something from Benilde, no? We have this C break, 'di ba? Meron tayong C break. So sabi ko, dapat ang office may ganyan din. So since our name is Hearth Group, no, sabi namin, we should have this Hearth break, no? Hearth break. So once in a while, we have this small office party, KTV, or we go out somewhere, no? Yung breakout, we did that in Glorieta, no? Parang gano'n, maiba lang, ma-break lang yung routine ng puro work, no? So we have this hearth break. Ayan. So one of my staff, tinanong ko before this presentation, sabi ko, but okay ka pa ba dito sa firm na maliit? So sabi niya, si Grace, sabi niya, I deliberately did not apply in big firms, sabi niya. I wanted to experience the different aspects of the practice in a small firm. So sabi niya, gusto niya yung nangyayari ngayon sa firm namin na always, no, siya ang gumagawa ng payroll, no? Even if she's an architect, siya gumagawa ng payroll, ako gumagawa ng mga banking, no? So hati kami sa admin staff. Sa HR, hati rin kami, no? Sa interviews. So kaya alam namin yung aspects ng practice, not just yung schematic, design development, coordination sa engineers, construction, even the back room, no? Back of the house, no? Alam namin ngayon, no, nalalaman namin yung finance, yung mga mandatory payments sa government, taxes, BIR, and we're enjoying it. We're enjoying learning, no, this side of the practice. So again, what's the best firm size to get into? So actually, ang sagot is, it's the one you like. Kung saan mo gusto, walang mali, no? Kung gusto mo maliit na firm, you will learn something from there. No? If you want a medium size or a big firm, you will learn a lot from them. So ang question is, ano bang gusto mo? Do you like tall buildings? Do you like large malls? So malamang pumunta ka sa bigger offices pag ganun ang project na gusto mo. If you like interiors or houses or smaller projects, sa smaller firm ka pumunta. And walang mali, no? So last quote, I think. Sabi ni IMP again, so you make mistakes when you're young. It is important to have the opportunity to make mistakes. So what if pinusukan mo mali tapos hindi mo pala gusto? Okay lang, you're young. No, you have time. So importante is to give yourself those opportunities, no? Huwag kang tatanggi. Wag masyadong puro doubt, no? Go for it, no? If it's a mistake, then learn from it and then move on, no? So the important thing is give yourself those opportunities and learn from them. Okay, so thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something about how small practices, no, operate. So we'll be entertaining questions after Architect Bong's presentation. Okay, so thank you and see you later.
All right. So that was really a very enlightening presentation from Sir Jimmy. I'm sure a lot of you will have questions or have questions. So please type in those questions in the chat box and we will ask them later during the Q&A portion. Okay. Now we will proceed to our next presenter. And I will be reading his profile. So our next presenter is Architect Jose Pedro C. Recio. Architect Bong Recio received his Bachelor of Science degree in Architecture from the University of Santo Tomas and is a member of the United Architects of the Philippines, a fellow of the Philippine Institute of Architects, an associate member of American Institute of Architects, and an ASEAN architect. Rchitects Inc. was established in 2008 by Architect Bong Recio, after 20 years as a partner in his former firm Recio Casas. Architect Jose Pedro C. Recio started his international career in architecture when he moved to Hong Kong in 1976, where his position as an assistant architect in Eric Cumin Associates paved the way to his exposure to numerous project types. In 1978, he joined the Wong Tung International as design architect and stayed on for 6 years. Moiser Associates Ltd invited Mr. Recio to join the firm as an associate in 1984 and subsequently accepted an offer of partnership in 1986. Architect Bong Recio co-founded Recio Casas in 1988 in Hong Kong and moved back to the Philippines in 1992. Since then, he has been responsible for the design of major projects in Metro Manila, such as the Church of Recio in Ateneo. And the church was subsequently awarded the first Ligi ng Dangal Award for Architecture by the National Commission for Culture and Arts in 2017. Other projects include the 17-story FEU Tech building, Twin Oaks in Mandaluyong, and Bohol Bellevue Resort Hotel in Panglao Island. Rchitects Inc. has quickly established itself as a firm that thrives on its expertise in design, encompassing residential, commercial, hospitality, and institutional work. So I now give the floor to Architect Bong Sir Bong, you may start your presentation.
Thank you for the introduction, Erika. How do I start my? I told Erika that I'm not big on PowerPoints. No? So unlike Jimmy's presentation, you'll probably be hearing and seeing a lot more of me and my voice rather than seeing visuals. No? Until I asked Erika to go through some of the projects. No? But let me take a big step back to share with you my journey to how I arrived at where I am today. No, because I have been asked that by many students. During my university years, I was fortunate to have been asked by one of my design teachers to start working in the firm that she was with, called at the time Antonio Heredia, no, Tony Heredia. And so I had the opportunity to work with the firm for 2 years before I graduated. So I was already apprenticing even while I was still in school. That is like the equivalent now of your 2 years apprenticeship after you graduate. No, but at that time we were allowed to work while we were still studying. So I worked with a firm. They were an 8-person firm, no, and my professor Sonia Galvez was one of the senior designers in that firm. So she kind of took me under her wing to mentor me in architecture, and that was how I was able then to take the board exams immediately right after graduation, which I did, and so I graduated from UST 1975. 76, I took the board and got my license in 1976. So right there, I started getting work from relatives, obviously, no, and that's how every architect will start. It's usually they'll start to get work from relatives. And the way I started, if you want to talk about small firms, I think I can say that probably mine was the smallest firm because I was doing a house for my brother-in-law. I was doing a 6-door apartment, all from the comfort of my bedroom in the house. I had 2 drafting tables. So at the time, wala pang computers. No? So I had 2 drafting tables, each one project each. No, so I would shuttle back and forth, and maybe that was my experience of work from home already, even back then in the 70s. So that was happening in 1976, right after I got my license. But in the meantime, a friend of mine who graduated about 2 years ahead of me had already been working in Hong Kong. He asked me, Bong, this firm I'm working with is looking for Filipino architects because apparently Filipinos made a good impression in Hong Kong. So I said, yeah, I'm interested. So I applied. I got the job. So the houses, the 2 projects I was working with, one I actually finished. But the other, I had to hand it over to another friend to finish for me, because I could not finish it. So I got the job in Hong Kong, and that was my baptism by fire, working in a big firm. I had no idea what size the firm was when I applied. When I asked my friend if I could apply, I had no idea. No, so. The firm Erika and Associates was then one of the biggest firms in Hong Kong, it turned out. They were about 300 staff, 300 employees. Can you imagine that? Big office. And there were about six Filipinos working in the firm. So I would have been the 7th Filipino working there. And these other Filipinos working there had been working there for about 2 years already, 3 years, but they had been in Hong Kong for a total of 5-6 years, working in other firms previous to that. So that was Erika and Associates, about 300 staff, and of course you were only working on one particular project, no? And at that time, bagito pa lang ako noon, so I didn't really know the mechanics of working in a big firm. Basta I just did my work. I did what I was assigned, and that was it, no? So I stayed with Erika for 2 years, and there's a backstory to that, no? Because just before I left Erika, Meloy Casas came to Hong Kong, and we had been friends already in UST before that. So I told him, Meloy, I'm leaving this firm, but they're looking for a replacement for me. You want to apply? And it just so happened that while he was in Hong Kong, he brought his auntie, told him to bring his sample of work just in case. So he did. So he went for an interview, and he got the job. No, so just as I was leaving, Erika Meloy was coming in, but of course he had to wait to get his visa before he was able to move to Hong Kong. So that's the story of how the friendship started in Hong Kong. Okay. And then I joined another firm, Wong Tung International, Wong Tung and Partners. Another big firm. They were like another 300 plus company, no? And again, my whole career there, I think I only worked on one project, and that was some of you may know it, and that's Tai Kushing in Quarry Bay in Hong Kong. And Tai Kushing was such a big project. They had residential towers, they had a mall, they had an office building. So my whole career in Wong and Tung, that was all 6 years, I worked only on Tai Kushing projects. So I worked on City Plaza, which was a mall, the first mall project I worked on. I worked on some of the residential towers there. I worked on an office building, but that was it. I was confined to just that, no. And then one of the senior designers in the firm, her name was Moira Moser, and she runs a big, thriving practice also now. Left the company, started their own company, and then about a year later, invited me to join her. So I did, but so that was from 300 plus staff companies. And you can imagine after I joined Mora, I was back again to an 8-person office. No? So it was a very small, intimate office, very similar to what Jimmy showed earlier. And we were doing a lot of corporate offices. That was the bread and butter of the firm because I could not practice as an architect. So we were doing a lot of corporate offices. And I guess that was Moira's strategy as a gateway into eventually being able to do architectural projects in Hong Kong. No? But all the time until I left, I never got a chance to do architectural work with Moira until opportunities came about that enabled me to be able to start off on my own, still doing corporate offices. So so that window of opportunity opened, and then I asked Meloy, who was working in Architects Hawaii at the time, and until then we had never worked together in the same firm. So I asked Meloy, you wanna join? Let's do this together because I could not think of anybody else to partner with except Meloy at the time, no. So we did. So that's how Recio Casas was born in Hong Kong in the year 1988. And we figured August 1988 was a good year to start because, as you know, the Hong Kong naman, they're very aware of feng shui. So it was an 88 start of the firm. So we started Recio Casas there. And then in the late 80s, the Philippines was starting to experience a boom in real estate. And one of our clients in Hong Kong then was First Pacific Group. So as you well know, First Pacific is now the owner of PLDT and the Smart Communications, no? But they were only into real estate then. So they acquired a property here in Makati on Ayala Avenue and built the first premier high-rise condo here in the Philippines called Pacific Plaza. We were the design consultants then, and we worked with the local office of Tony Sindyong at the time, no? The office of Tony Sindyong. We were design consultants, and we worked with the office of Tony Sindyong, the late Tony Sindyong. So that was our first foot in the door back here in the Philippines. And then in 1991, we were invited to join a competition for the rehab of ABS-CBN in Quezon City. At the time, the Lopez's had just come back after martial law, and they wanted to fix up their broadcast station, ABS-CBN. So we joined the competition, and we were the only non-resident Filipino firm that had joined the competition. I think there were 5 competitors, all the big local names here then, no? Formoso, Locsin, Manyosa, among others. No? So we joined the competition, and eventually we were selected to our design scheme was selected for the project on the one condition also that one of the principals would have to come back to the Philippines to oversee the project. And since I was the principal in charge of that project, I came home in 1992 to establish Recio and Casas in the Philippines. Meloy stayed on in Hong Kong to complete our other projects there. Okay. So we started Recio Casas in the Philippines, started again, very, very small, a little studio. We were again about 6 people. We rented an office space in Pasong Tamo Extension, which was part of a big shrimp processing facility. Okay, so we were a little office there, and then behind us there was this huge glass wall, and we could see how they were processing the shrimps, right? So that was quite a surreal setup there, an small architectural office. Then right behind us, and we could see how they were preparing the shrimps. No, so that was how it began in that small office in Pasong Tamo Extension. And then in 1994, the second Pacific Plaza was going to start, which is the one in BGC. So I told Meloy, I think you have to come back home already because we're starting the second project, and I think you should be the one handling this project. So Meloy came home in 1996, and that was the start of Recio Casas in whole in Manila. And as you can imagine, big projects like this suddenly coming down on us, we had to expand very, very quickly. So from a staff of 6, we started growing until I think we reached about 40. And then after that, clients like Mega World came in, and then they started giving us work as well. So we had to expand until we had our office in Paseo Center, where we had not quite 100 people at that time, but almost 100 people. We were like 90 plus people. And one of your professors, Pompey Agustin, and 2 of your professors actually, and Christine Ison, were working with us already then. So they were part of the staff of 90 plus people in the office. And, you know, from a small firm to a big firm, sometimes you really cannot feel the growth. All you know is that you're busy attending to your clients, and you have to hire people, you have to look for more space, you have to move because the small space can no longer accommodate the number of people you have. So we ended up there in Paseo Center with about, I think that was about 600 square meters of office space. So it was a huge office. So 2008 was the start of Rchitects Inc. Okay, I went off on my own. Meloy and I parted very, very amicably. And I was actually quite happy that I was back again in a small firm, a small office. Okay, so and to me, you know, before I left RNC, Recio Casas, my big dilemma then was that you know, I could not remember all the employees' names. And to me, that was not good for me because I always want to be in a position wherein I remember everybody's names in the office. So you have a staff of about 90, you know, you cannot possibly remember everybody's name. Of course, we had IDs, and sometimes I felt so embarrassed having to take a peek at the name of the staff I was talking to before I could blurt out his or her name, no? But to me, that was one of the downfalls of having such a big firm, because I simply could not remember everybody's name. So we started Rchitects Inc. We started, I think, with about 24 staff, 23, 24, right, Pompey? Around that number, because we had carryover projects from Recio Casas. Okay, so we started already kind of between small and medium firms. So we were about 24. We were in a much smaller office. And then again, projects started to come in, and then we had to move offices again. So we moved to another office also in Salcedo Village. And I think the time that we were in that building along De La Costa, I forget the name of the building now.
Trafalgar
Place, Trafalgar Plaza, Trafalgar Plaza. Thank you, Pompey. Then we got bigger again. We were about 40 plus already in that office. We were getting more work. And then finally, we settled in reliable building along Balugay, still in Makati, and at that time we were already about 80 plus people. No? And to me, I felt 80 plus was again back to where I started when I left Recio Casas, because again, with 80 people, I was starting not to remember the names of all the new people again, all the staff, right? But that was something that I had to deal with on a daily basis. No? So I even had the seating plan made. I had names there so I could remember who was seated where. Then I had to have pictures of the guys there so that I could remember their faces and all of that. No? But so those were the quirks of a big firm. No? Now, I get back to the topic at hand, no? Which is, what is a big firm all about? Of course, as a student, you know, the big dream is always to work. You know, you international firms. You can look them up now online, and you know you hear about all these big names of SOMs, KPFs, and many other new names have come into the picture now. And that's always the dream of every architect, is to be able to be recognized as working and being associated with a big firm. Okay, and it seemed that Recio Casas, Architects Inc., my name, Beloy's name, other firms became synonymous with big firms. Okay, now when you're running a big firm already, you really have to start being efficient. You are starting to run a corporate office, so you start having organizations within the office. So you have different departments. You have the technical side, you'll have your design team, you will have your project management team, you will have your production team. Okay, so that's on the technical side. And then on the management side, you will have finance, you will have HR, you will have office management to run the day-to-day things in the office. All the things that Jimmy Hermogenes has rolled into one. Just him, one person, right? But a big firm, you have to branch out into all of these different departments within the office to be able to run efficiently. Jimmy also mentioned earlier about the turnover in small firms of people wanting to work in big firms, and we also experience that in big firms. No, but if you are able to organize your big firm in such a way that you already have a system in place, you have a management system in place, and you train people, you become almost like a university, no? So that people graduate, people move on and want to work somewhere else, do something else, but you already have a system in place so that that void is very quickly filled. So sometimes what we do when we have OJTs coming in, and of course we limit the number of OJTs because we don't have enough physical seats or computers for them. So sometimes we have 4 at any one time. During their time in the office before their board exams, we try to give them a well-rounded experience within the office. So they're not just stuck during their OJT in the office on design. They're not just stuck on project management. They're not just stuck on production. We rotate them, so they spend 2 months in design, 2 months in design, 2 months in project management, 2 months in production. So they get the feel of what it's like to experience what an architect project will entail. It also gives them an opportunity to be able to decide what part of architecture is it that they really want to specialize in. Some want to design, some are happy doing working drawings, they're very good at detailing. Some want to go to the site, some want to deal with contractors, so they wanna pursue project management. No, so that gives them a chance to be able to see where it is they want to go to after they get their license, and when they apply in a firm, what sort of work do they want to be doing in that firm. Okay, so for a big firm, you need to be ready to face a corporate structure. Okay, so like I said, you have your finance, so you have your salary reviews every so often. you have reviews, you have interviews about the work that you are doing, whether you're happy in it, do you want to experience something else. You have to submit reports of the projects that you're working on. You have daily, not daily, but you have regular meetings reviewing projects. I happen to be very, very involved in the design process in the office, because that is really my number one passion. But having said that, we have regular meetings with the other departments, like the project management, the production team, just to make sure that everybody's still in sync and on the same page. Okay. What I used to do sometimes, and I love doing this, was when most people had gone home already, and I'm usually left. There's only 2 or 3 people left in the office, and I'm one of the last to leave. I go around the different workstations of everybody in the office, and then I see what they have on their desk. No? I think it was pretty sneaky of me to do that, but I go around everybody's desk. Then if I see a set of drawings there, I spend maybe 5-10 minutes just going through what they're doing. And in one evening, maybe I'm able to go through maybe 5 desks or so. So I'm going through the drawings, and then as I'm going through the drawings, I start marking up the drawings, right? I start marking a few pages. I start marking up the drawings. So I do that to about 4 or 5 workstations. Then the following morning, the guy comes back, or the girl comes back to his desk and finds the drawings marked up, right? And they don't know who did it, of course, no. Then of course word gets around, and they find out it was Sir Bong that did all of that, no. So they don't know how to react. No? Are they happy that Sir Bong paid attention to them? Are they not happy that it got marked up and all of that? No? But I think it was a very positive move on my part to do that, because they felt that they did not feel that I was checking in on them. I think they felt more like I was very involved with what they were doing. So that was something I was able to do in spite of the size of the firm. Okay. Sometimes big firms, you cannot avoid that there can also be politicking, no? And that is something of a big challenge in a big firm. There can be politicking, but of course, these politickings come and go. You know, it's there, and then you resolve it, and afterwards, something else again erupts in another part because of this, because of that. You're able to resolve it, and sometimes there's this and that again. So this happens in a big firm. No, you cannot help it. And also in a big firm, everybody becomes a member of your family, because all their personal family problems they bring to you. No, so you have to have a really good HR person there to handle all of these problems that come to fore when you have staff with personal problems. And of course, you want to resolve this right away, because if they're not there, the project suffers also, right? So those are some of the quirks of working with the big firms. When you're a big firm, I guess you don't really have to do a lot of marketing anymore, precisely because you're a big firm, people come to you because they know that you have good clients, and clients have come to you, and that's why you have a big practice, no? So as a big firm, as Jimmy again said, we've stopped doing standalone homes, because again, we are not equipped to do that kind of work, except when it's a home of one of your big clients. You cannot say no, and there I have to take a very, very personal approach, and I'm actually the one designing the house, because it becomes a very, very personal relationship with your client, no? So the types of projects we get from the clients are mostly the types of clients we have are mostly developers. And again, because you're a big firm, you work with big developers. And if you work with big developers, again, there's a lot of red tape. You know, they have different departments before you get the final approval. Like one of our big clients, just when you think you are presenting, this team has already approved it, nakahinga ka na, akala mo, wow, okay, approved na. And then after that, there's another department pala that you have to present to. Okay, so approved na yon, so nakahinga ka na naman. And then after that, there's another upper department that you still have to present to again. All in all, you've gone through about 4 or 5 presentations until you get to the very top, and then and only then does it get finally approved. So that is part of what you have to face with a big firm working with big clients. I'm sure with Jimmy, his projects, the person he's talking to is the one who makes the decisions, and that's it. Okay, so tapos ang kwentuhan. However, we do come across big projects also wherein there is only one decision maker, and that is the guy at the top. We go straight to the top. We don't have to go through all of these layers of approval. And those are the types of projects that I like, wherein there's not much red tape. You get a good project, and you don't have to go through all the different layers. Okay. One of the best things in a big firm, of course, is you get repeat clients. So customer care is very, very important. No, getting repeat clients is much better than day in, day out. You're there knocking on doors, trying to get new projects all the time. So if you take care of your client, you will get repeat work, and you will not have to go around marketing yourself all the time. No, and sometimes that becomes a hurdle, a challenge in big firms, because while they want to maintain their overheads, their payroll, their rentals, they cannot say no anymore to these clients, because they become the clients that actually support those firms. When you work with a big firm, I think there is no such thing anymore as a specialization. So we have high-rise residential projects, condos. We also do shopping centers, malls. We do office buildings. We do hospitality projects, hotels, resorts, and educational facilities. Educational facilities, schools, for example. So you cannot be too picky anymore about the work that you do. I personally like working on the educational facilities, because those are projects that keep giving back. You are helping in nation building in a very positive and productive way. But with a smaller firm, I guess you can really specialize if you want to. When I'm asked to do a residence for one of our big clients, I jump at the opportunity right away, because to me it feels like I'm working in a bubble by myself again, and it feels as if I'm working in a small firm again, because I'm personally handling this one special project and not having the whole office involved in it. No, so after you graduate, I guess, as Jimmy said, Jimmy, sorry, I have to keep referring back to your presentation, because you did touch on a lot of very, very important issues there. There is no right or wrong if you wanna join a small firm or if you want to join a big firm. But of course, as I said earlier, the big dream of everybody is to work in a big firm and to be able to make yabang to their counterparts later on. Oh, I'm working with Architect Bong, I see him every day, blah, blah, blah. And, that's not all that matters, really. It's really your choice. I think if I were a fresh graduate today, if I were in your shoes, I'd probably go knocking at the door of Jimmy Hermogenes and fill up an application form in his firm. Really. The lure of working in a big firm is there because of the prestige, because of the association of being able to work with a big firm. But again, it really depends on what you're after. Of course, with a big firm, you're able to start working right away on the big projects, but you'll be working on maybe bathroom layout ka muna, lobby layout ka lang muna. You're not there immediately to work on the big aspects and designing the exterior, the facade of the building. So you have to be ready to start at the bottom and work your way up. Whereas a small firm, as Jimmy said, you get involved, you get to do everything. So Jimmy, pag nagsawa na ako dito, mag-a-apply na ako sa firm mo. Okay, so I guess those are the stories behind big firms. So of course, I'm talking about how we used to run Recio Casas, Rchitects Inc. today. And some big firms will also form, unlike the way that we do it, we have design department, production, and project management. Some big firms, they break that down into smaller studios. So in one studio, you have all three already. In one studio, you have another studio, you have all three already there. So that's how they're able to manage their projects. But at the end of the day, you're still working on in one big firm. No, and then you still have to go through finance, human resources, HR, and all of that. No, so your experience will still be the same as to how you are developing as an architect and your exposure to the different types of projects. So I think, at this point, maybe I can take you through some of the projects that we've done. And if I can ask Erika, maybe to start the slide. So this is the first part of our website. That's me with more hair back then. I always show this picture because I had more hair then. No? So yeah, go ahead, Erika. Next page, please. So I'm going to walk you through the different projects that we've done. We're doing offices. I've limited it. No, not all the projects are here, but these are the office projects. This was a project in Cebu called I3. This is a third project with the same client. It's an office building. It's an office building project, and the way that we tried to introduce some unique details in this project was that we made the project lean forward from the bottom to the top. No, so the top floor there's a difference of about 3 meters. It leans forward, and then when the project topped out. There was a Japanese national who lived in a condo nearby, and then he called a building official and reported that he sensed that I think something was wrong with the construction of the building because it was not straight. Okay, so only to find out that it was done on purpose. Next, please. This is again the same client. So this is how this is what I talk about when you have repeat clients. No? So we've had 3 projects with this client. 2 Quad was our 3rd project with them. This is also in Cebu. It's also an office building. This is in Ayala Avenue. Tower 6, 7, 8, 9. It's gone through 2 ownerships already. When the second owner came in, they asked us to redo the lobby. So we redesigned the whole lobby all over again. No? This is a 36-story building, I think. This is also the next one is also in Ayala Avenue for Security Bank. We left the old building intact, but we gave it a new facade. And then the facade was comprised of punched out aluminum panels, which had their logo in it. So their logo became the pattern of the punch outs for the building. Next, please. Then we have some retail work. This is Harbor Point in Subic, owned by Ayala Avenue. It's been there for about I think about 7 years already. It's the biggest mall right now in Subic, and it's I think the only mall there at the moment. Next, please. Oh, okay. This was one of the smaller projects, but big impact projects we did in San Antonio in Forbes Park. San Antonio Plaza was a neighborhood plaza, but it was a neighborhood plaza of the very rich and famous and wealthy in Forbes Park in Dasmariñas Village. No? So we were asked to come in and renovate the shopping centers, the plaza. So we had to do it while all of the existing tenants were still operating. So we introduced a total of about 2,600 square meters all in all. And all of the construction was done while all the existing tenants continued operations. So you can imagine this was a challenge for the contractor to make sure that safety was at its best, because there were still people shopping, there were still tenants operating while the construction was going on. Okay. The 30th in Mandaluyong in Ortigas. Again, this was also a project with Ayala. This was one of the first malls that we did with them that had indoor and outdoor area. So this also has about 4 cinemas. I'm not sure, but I think Ayala sold this mall. I'm not sure who bought it, no, but I think they sold this development already. Behind it, there's this photo that you see on the lower left corner. There is a 30-story BPO building also behind it. Okay. And then the UP Town Center, which is along Katipunan. Again, a lot of indoor-outdoor areas, also with Ayala Land. This was where the former UP High School used to be. So this was like a joint venture with the UP University of the Philippines for this development. Okay. And then we have our hospitality projects. This was the Shangri-La in Boracay. It was a very horizontal project. The site development alone took 1 year, because this was Shangri-La's first project that was up on a hillside. Most of their resort projects were all in flat land, so the site development alone took about a whole year. Okay, next. South Palms, this is ongoing right now. They're in site development now. So this is an all villa project. I think about 98 villas all in all. They're currently in site development now in Panglao. Bellevue Resort is already completed. This was completed many years ago. About 200 plus rooms with a beachfront of about not very long compared to Panglao. No? Compared to South Palms. South Palms had, I think, over 2 kilometers of beach frontage all on their own. Okay, next please. This is a completed project in Davao. This is a mix of a hotel and residences. I think this is the first 5-star hotel in Davao, but there are a few coming up already, I heard. Okay. And then we have our institutional work. This is the Church of the Jesuit. This is the in that other school, you know, that other school, the one that has all blue. This is where that church is, no? Right? Okay, so this was my actually. I am an Atenean. No? I went there for a grade school and high school, but it was really an honor to be able to pray your La Salle prayer, Kanina. That was my first time to pray the La Salle prayer with you guys. No, but when I came back from Hong Kong, I approached Ateneo to ask them, is there anything I can do for the campus? And at that time, they were planning the church. So I said, can I also join? So it was it wasn't a competition, but they were considering about 4 different architects. And finally, we got, to make a long story short, we got the project, and it now stands as the iconic building in the Ateneo campus. It stands at the highest point of the campus. And in 2000 and I'm not sure, I don't remember what year that was. It won the Haligin ng Dangal Award. It was chosen by the National Commission for Arts and Culture. So that was the first time that they had a category in architecture, and the church won the award for that. So I am very proud of this project. Next, please. This is in Xavier School in New Valley. I'm showing here the Oratory of St. Francis, which is the chapel in the whole campus. No? So it's the focal point, and all the other buildings are situated around this chapel. And this is the whole Xavier's campus as it stands at the moment, and you can see the oratory right there in the middle of the other buildings. We did also all the other buildings in the campus. This was the medical tower of in Manila Doctors Hospital. So that is the lobby. This is the latest building. It has 120 beds, I think, and it's connected with the existing Manila Doctors Hospital, but it has its own lobby. Okay, and then we have some residential work. I'll go through this very quickly. This is Twin Oaks. At the time that this picture was taken, it was only one Twin Oak, but now the second Twin Oak has gone up, so now we can legitimately call the project Twin Oaks. Residential, lofts, and single flats. This is Serene West in Tagaytay. Finished already, constructed. Very, very busy area now in Tagaytay with a mall in front of it. Next. This is in BGC for federal land. Again, this is already completed. It sits right beside the Grand Hyatt in BGC. All residential and some commercial at the bottom. This was a special project of Pompey at the time when she was working with us. Unfortunately, the construction stopped at 40 floors, I think. But Pompey, I understand it's going to be revived again, but they're stopping it at about 50 floors. They're no longer going to pursue the 74 or 76 floors that it was supposed to be at the start originally. I'm sorry, the image is quite small, but you can see this is our organization chart. So we have the design team, we have project management, we have production, we have finance, we have HR, but such is a typical organization chart for a big firm. Okay, I think there was another project that I wanted to show just as a last special project. Pwede ba, Erika? Can it be shown? Okay, this last, pwede ba ipakita?
Yes, sir, can I share my screen?
Of course. Go ahead.
Yes, Sir Aldous.
Okay, ito pinahabol ko lang. No? I wanted to show you guys a project that could have been done by a small firm, no? But a personal friend called us to do this, so I had to say yes, and it was a very, very important project for a very, very important family here in the Philippines. No, they asked us to design a columbarium for their family. This is in Heritage Park. So as you can imagine, a columbarium is not a big project, but it's a very, very special project because to those that want the columbarium built, it's where their family is going to be interred. It's a forever project. No. So this consisted of 8 lots in Heritage Park. No, so 8 lots. So you can imagine the shape of the columbarium was rectangular. We were able to fit a lounge inside, and a total of 98 vaults inside, and then a small prayer area for the family. So this columbarium is supposed to be able to cater to until maybe 2 or 3 more generations after, no? So this is what it looks like. So it's very, very long. It has stained glass on the sides, and we got Robert Kraut, the Kraut company, one of the oldest, if not the oldest, stained glass company in the Philippines to do the stained glass windows. Okay, and then are there any other images apart from the last image, Erika? No more, no? So I was saying that a small firm could have done this, And you could have been doing a project like this also, even if you were a small firm, small project, big impact. Ba? So this is just recently completed. No, in fact, the lighting on the exterior has not yet been installed because it's only arriving this month of July, but all of the lighting inside has already been done. Are there any? And then we also got a sculptor to do this, the sculpture of the mother and child sculpture. Can you go back to that entrance picture again? Okay, this is, yeah, this one, no? Maybe you can zoom in. That's a mother and child sculpture by Sajid Imao. Also, when you enter, you see this bronze sculpture right at the entrance. And then he also did the crucifix inside. Can you show the other pictures? Okay, this is Yan. So this is the prayer area. You can see the stained glass inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright patterns. And that crucifix that you see there was also done by Sajid Imao. Okay. And then go back to the picture of the vaults, the interior. There, this one. So this is a dead center picture. There are several alcoves for all the vault. So you have several alcoves as you turn left and you turn right. And that door at the very end is the lounge, is the entrance door to the lounge. Okay. And then the last picture I wanted to show you was the picture that kept appearing that I did not want to appear yet. But anyway, here it is. Okay. So here's that picture of me, Mr. Architect Recio, watering the lawn, And when I sent this to the owner, tuwang-tuwa yung owner, Kasi si Architect Recio, nagdidilig ng garden natin, So I wanted to leave you with this image, guys, because architects who run big firms do not necessarily want to be held up in a pedestal. No, I mean, we're just architects like you guys, and we like to design just like you guys. No, so I had this picture taken because I wanted to show the owner that I'm your architect, I'm Bong Recio, but hey, I know how to take care of clients, and I'm even taking care of their garden. No, so they said, oh, yun yung pinakamahal na gardener sa Heritage Park ngayon, di ba? So anyway, you got to keep your feet grounded. I think that's one of the last things that I wanted to say, Even if you're working in a big firm and maybe you're very successful in that firm, you work your way up from being a draftsman to becoming a junior associate to becoming a senior associate and becoming a partner eventually. You must remember always to keep your feet grounded, no? And I think that is what's going to contribute to your success as an architect, whether you work in a big firm or a small firm. So let me close by quoting something from Albert Einstein, when he said, try not to be a man of success, but rather a man of value. Okay? So that's it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Erika, for inviting me to this symposium, this webinar. And although I don't see all of you guys, I'm not used to talking into a screen, right? I really prefer talking in person with people, seeing the reaction, some sleeping while I'm talking and all of that, falling asleep while I'm talking. But I hope this talk has given you a glimpse of what it might be like to work with a big firm. And then you can make your decision as to whether you want to work with a big firm or a small firm. There is no right or wrong. So good luck, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Architect Bong. That was a very inspiring presentation. Guys, let's give Architect Bong a virtual applause. May virtual applause na dito sa Zoom, sir.
Oh, nadidinig ko natin.
Or ganon.
I think, Erika, as a courtesy, let's invite everyone to open their cameras so that Bong can see everyone's face. Can we invite everyone to, di ba?
Turn on your cameras.
By the way, Bong,
There.
Yeah.
I invited an alumnus from Benilde who worked for you. Si Emma Collier is
Oh,
here.
Of course, of course.
Emma,
Emma, my
mag-open ka
dear
ng camera
Emma.
mo.
Okay.
Where's Emma?
Hi, Emma.
See you.
By the way, Emma Collier is a graduate of Benilde and worked for he was an OJT and apprentice, no, Emma?
Yeah.
Yeah, in
Saka boss ko rin yan.
Wow, boss.
Yeah.
So Jimmy will also join us in a bit.
Yay!
Papunta
Yay!
na. Patapos na daw yung event nila. So, hintayin lang natin. So,
Sabihin mo,
kwentuhan na tayo.
tumakas na siya.
Oo nga.
So everyone, can you please open your camera so we can take an photo? Ops natin. Yes, thank you, Javi.
Javi. Hi, Javi.
Happy pala si Javi. Oo. Yes.
Kev.
How about the others?
Camille.
Yeah, Erika, ikaw na lang mag-screenshot or si Ben. Everyone, can you please open
We'll wait
your
lang
camera?
for the others to turn on your camera. Turn on their cameras. Pero habang naghihintay tayo, magkwentuhan muna tayo. Habang hihintay din natin si Sir Jimmy.
Actually, Erika, while we're waiting, because I'll have to run off in a while, no?
Okay.
But I don't mind taking questions now if you want.
Yes, sir. So
Okay.
those who want to ask questions, you may press the raise hand button or you may type it here in our chat box. So may mga questions pa? Mga nahihiya pa?
Sige, umpisahan ko para hindi sila mahiya, no? Now Bong mentioned that he was almost involved in Thai cuisine, no? I just want to share, nung gagawin pala yung Rockwell, si John Palafox asked me to visit Thai cuisine, being a good example of a development.
A planned
mixed-use.
community. Yeah, planned
Yeah.
community. Yeah.
Yun yung sample ng mixed use na hindi pa uso dito and he was asking me to check on that. Hindi ko alam na ikaw pala yung gumawa. No? Yun yung unang may skating rink no?
Yes, correct. At saka may tulay, yung bridge.
Yes. Taiko.
Yeah.
No.
City Plaza. That was called City Plaza then.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you were pala involved in that. I mean, it's really mixed use. Ang daming building nun. Ang grabe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We were a few
kilala kita.
Filipinos working on that project. But I was really more assigned to the Mount Parker House, which was an office building, and City Plaza, which was the mall that you saw. Yeah. From start to finish yun.
Saka sayang lang, Bong, pwede sana na ma-share mo, makita ng mga upcoming architects or these students, makita yung design ng isang architect, yung bahay niya. May bahay kang may mahabang swimming pool. Is that your rest house in
Tally Beach? That was in Tally Beach.
Oh, sa Tally Beach pala yun. Sana
Tally
nakita
Beach.
mo.
Yeah.
It has a long lap pool, di ba? Doon sa may...
Yeah.
Naka-picture?
I could show you here the picture, but yeah, let me show you.
Meron doon.
As
Pretty
class, no?
Wow.
Yeah. Hindi niya napakita. It's a house of an architect. So you might want to see the a house of an architect, no? That's designed by Bong Recio. Yeah.
That's what it looked like from a helicopter.
Wala pang drone nun.
Yes.
Wala pang drone on helicopter.
Yeah.
Tally Beach pala. That's in Tally Beach.
Yeah. There was the house was featured in a book by Elizabeth called Tropical Houses or Tropical Homes.
Yeah.
So that the house you'll see, the pictures there are better, of course, no? So it was featured in the book.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Anyway, total nagpapakita ka na rin lang sa camera, no? May napansin ako, Bong. Alam mo yung unang mga lumang diploma na nagiging brown na, yung mga parchment.
Talaga?
Nakita ko sa likod mo, mukhang may long hair doon eh. Yan, sa likod mo, merong isang long hair na picture.
Tama ka na dyan, Rodel. Tama na yan. No?
Nakita ko.
O nga, sir. Punta na tayo sa question kasi meron lang pumasok. Yan. From Tracy
Thank you, Rodin. Thank you for putting me on the spot.
All right. So Tracy asked, how did you adjust from the Philippines to Hong Kong and back, especially on the differences in licensure and work culture?
Okay.
Good.
Tracy, is it Tracy?
Tracy, yes.
Okay. Tracy, you know,
Hmm.
my that trip of mine to Hong Kong, that was my first time ever to travel. First time ever to travel, and I was traveling alone, you know, so you could imagine the terror of me leaving the Philippines for the first time all alone in my seat in the airplane and about to go to Hong Kong, which I've heard a lot about but never been to. Okay. And of course, living in Hong Kong, moving to Hong Kong was another cultural shock for me. Okay, first time ever to step foot in Hong Kong, cultural shock. But to all of you guys, no, now that you mentioned this, Tracy, I do encourage, if the opportunity comes along for you to be able to work abroad, I strongly encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity and spend some time abroad, no? Because I've found that being able to work abroad broadened my horizon as an architect to be able to work with other nationalities. Independence was a very big factor there, being able to live independently away from family. You earn your own, you stay in your own apartment right away. So there was a big adjustment, but it was a good big adjustment. Um, in terms of licensing, we could not get a license in Hong Kong because we were not British nationals. So only British nationals and territories were allowed to take a license to practice in Hong Kong. No? So that would be Hong Kong, Australia, the UK, any colony of Britain. You were allowed to practice and get a license. So I was never licensed in Hong Kong, but if you wanted to do a project there, then you have to work with a licensed architect, you know, to be able to do some work there. So that's why we were doing a lot of corporate offices originally, because that was not even licensed then. Interior designers doing corporate offices. It was very lucrative, but you were not required a license. But to do architecture, you had to be licensed. So, and then going back to the Philippines, again, you carry back with you everything that you've learned as you worked abroad. And that makes for a better architect coming back to a country that is not as progressive as the country that you just came from. So that's why I would fully encourage that if you have an opportunity, either before or after you obtain your license, get a taste, get a feel of what it is working abroad, because it's a very, very different and very enriching experience. Thank you.
All right. Someone raised his hand. Javi, you have a question?
Yes. I'm currently doing OJT, and I'd like to ask, how do portfolios evolve over time, like with big companies and small companies, especially if you're coming from a small company or going to a big company? How do you add them to your portfolio? Do you even, or what are the considerations to take into mind, especially like maybe also in the context of going abroad, so on and so forth?
I guess as you're starting your company, I think Jing gave a very good example earlier. He now has first company, and the opportunity to do a 12-story building came along. Okay, but I mean, he was very realistic about it, and he felt that I think we do not have the capability to do this yet, and rightly so, he declined. No, however, he could have gone the other way and accepted the project, but in the process of doing so, he would have had to hire more people to do that. Okay, so siguro from 6, they may suddenly have had to expand and get maybe 4, 5, 6 more people to be able to handle the 12-story building, and then they'd be stationary in that position, no? And then having now done a 12-story building, other potential clients will come and say, oh, you've been able to do a 12-story building already. Baka pwede mong gawin tong 20-story namin. Okay, so the ball keeps rolling, and that's how you start growing from a small firm to a big firm. Now, as you can, as like Maya Lin, no? I mean, she's a very small architectural firm as well. It's really a consciousness on your part whether or not you want to grow into a big firm or you really want to stay as a small firm. If you want to stay as a small firm, you really have to be very steadfast in refusing big projects, because the temptation to accept big projects is so big that, you know, nabulag ka sa laki ng project na yan, and automatically you will say yes, no? But that's really a choice that you have to make, and be prepared to hire more people, get a bigger office, etc. You know, it will grow exponentially. So I think that's your call, whether or not you want to stay small or you want to grow big, if the opportunity comes. Right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Javi.
So we have now Architect Jimmy with us. Hi, Sir Jimmy.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon,
Jimmy!
Sir Bong.
Walang
Sorry,
hiya ka.
I had a
Iniwan mo
lunch.
ako dito. Nag-video ka lang, ha? Walang
Sorry.
hiya ka. Hindi ko makakalimutan to, Jimmy, ha?
Next time, sir.
O, alis na ako. Nandiyan na
Ay.
Jimmy. Alis na ako. Alis na.
Ay, nako.
Jimmy, I was
Yes, sir.
I was complimenting your video. I think everybody here can attest to that. I was complimenting your video. Very good video.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sayang, I'll watch your recording, your talk. Sayang, I missed it.
Okay, I see you're still in the car, actually.
Yes, I just finished the event, so I
Okay.
came running to the parking lot.
Okay, so did you guys want to do the picture now that Jimmy's with us?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So
We'll do it.
turn
Ben,
on
ikaw
the
na.
cameras again.
Ma, yeah.
Hi, Sir Rodin.
So,
Rodan.
so everyone, please open your, si Aldous, can you open your camera, or is that another one?
Wait. Ayan, nagsipo kasi iba. Alright, smile ulit. 1, 2, 3, smile. 2. There you go.
Done?
That's another picture. Yes, this is actually the third. Pero ito yung kasama ni si Sir Jimmy.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
there is
Thank
a
you.
question, Architect Bong from
Yes.
Aldous.
Mm-hmm.
Sir Bong, you seem to be very attached and involved with all the projects despite their number. Is it difficult considering the corporate structure? How do you do it despite your very busy schedule, or how do you see your projects?
I think number one, you have to be judicious about your time, and you have to trust your staff to be able to do the work that you assign to them. No, otherwise you'll end up doing everything yourself. No, so I think you just have to be trustful of the people that you work with and know that they'll be able to carry on what you've assigned to them. And that way the client will not always be looking only for you, but they will feel that they are in good hands and you are not needed anymore. No? But there are times that I do want to make an appearance as well, just to keep the connection with the client, especially the important clients and even the not important clients, because the not important clients later on will become the very important clients. Okay? So, ano yung sabi ni Jimmy? Do not burn your bridges, di ba? Oh, yun,
Yeah.
di ba? Yung mga not so important later on will become very important clients to you. So, you just have to be mindful of your time and make sure that where you want to spend your time will make the biggest impact. And then when you do that, it feels like you're always there all the time, but you're actually not. It just feels like it, it looks like it. No? Diba? So I think that's my formula there for you if you want.
I have a question. Medyo curious lang ako, both small and big firms. I'm sure you've encountered different personalities or character, may it be employee or clients, how do you deal with them? Kasi diba, meron talagang kakaiba of all those people that you've met in your whole career. How do
Ikaw
you...
naman, Jimmy, kanina pa ako salita dito.
Hindi po ba naman? Sir Jimmy muna, simula tayo.
No, but I'll answer also.
Yeah.
Si Jimmy.
Okay. Well, characters, no? So, well, yeah, co-workers or sometimes clients or engineers or marami talaga. We meet a lot of people, no? So, well, I guess this is what I've learned from GFN partners, no? So when we started there, I was much younger. Sabi nila, basta sir dito, lahat ng kausap natin, ang tawag natin sir at ma'am. No, kahit galit ka na, sir pa rin para hindi nawala yung respect, no? Tapos ang ending lagi, thank you. No, kahit anong in between, basta sa umpisa, sir, may respect. And then ang ending, thank you. So that's what I learned from GFN partners, no? So I practice that na para pa rin, civil pa rin kahit anong in between na pinag-usapan, no? Talagang patience. We need a lot of patience from architects talaga. Yun. Maikli lang, yun na.
Thanks, Sir Jimmy. Oo nga.
Thank you.
That's a point. Thank you. Sir Bong, how about you?
I stand up and walk out of the meeting. No, I'm kidding. No, really. You have to deal with all kinds, no? Of course, the corporate clients, the big clients, because they're so big, Diyos na talaga sila, di ba? But you always have to be respectful no matter what situation you're in. Always respectful no matter what, no? Whether mabait yung kliyente mo or medyo weird yung kliyente mo, basta you just have to be respectful at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I remember a story. It happened just a few weeks ago, no? So we were having a difficult client, no? So we were explaining the difference between a VRF and the split type, no? Kasi nagtatanong sila, so we had to explain. And then sabi nung son ng client, okay, we're not stupid. We know that. Pero kasi nagtatanong sila, so we had to explain. No? So again, in front of everybody, you have to maintain your composure, di ba? Still be respectful kasi sila yung client, no? So sabi ko lang, okay, so we can skip this and move on to the other topics. So pero yung patience mo talaga matetest.
Yeah.
Parang biglang tumaas kilay ko, biglang.
Yeah, I mean, ang daming tao tapos sasabihan kang gano'n, di ba? Pero, of course.
Anyway, how about the others? You have questions? Mukhang nahihiya pa rin yung iba. Miss Pompey, ikaw, you have questions?
Sisingit ko lang kung how do you deal with different people.
Nga,
No? Kasi I always remember na parang, I always practice this. Ito, malalaman na ni Bong. When parang you learn to and practice to nod with a smile, even if all you want to do is punch them in the face. Ayun lang. Yeah. Pero I just want to acknowledge also that yung yellow sheet mo dyan, Bong, that's always present. Yan, ganyan. So, lagi yan, yung role, yung kopya niya dyan na yellow.
Yes.
Yan, so.
Yeah.
Ikaw, Sir Jimmy, meron ka pa niyan.
Can I just add something, no? Kasi yun nga, yung corporate culture, no, difference between big firms and smaller firms, no? So yun nga, when I started my career in GF, yun yung una talaga nilang sinabi, lahat, or kahit ka-age mo dito sa office, sir, ma'am, no? Parang kaming Jollibee, sir, ma'am, no? So yun yung as in habit for 6 years, ganun kami, no? Then when I moved to Recio and Casas, sabi nila, hindi, walang sir, ma'am dito, no? Ang tawag namin kay Bong is Bong, to Meloy. And I really found that parang cool, no? Parang small office culture, parang ganun, pero malaking office sila, but we can call each other by our nicknames, no? Mas personal, no? I admire that, and I was trying to apply that in our small office, no? Pero ewan ko, hirap na hirap yung mga kasama ko na hindi ako
Jimmy, I don't know why talaga. Hirap na hirap mga Pilipino talaga to drop the word sir. Kahit na sabihin mo,
True.
if you keep calling me sir, I'm going to fire you. You know, sir, please, sir, ano.
Yeah.
You know, I keep telling them,
yeah.
I have not been knighted yet by the Queen of England, so you don't have to call me Bong.
Her Bong.
I am just like Bong, you know. So,
how about now, sir? Ako rin, sir. No? How about now? Do you have that
still,
culture in your office?
I try to tell them, pero ang hirap na hirap pa rin sila. Not everybody can do it. Put it that way. Not everybody can do it. But I do encourage them. Guys,
mahirap siya, especially in the academe. Kasi hindi ka nung
Academe, mahirap.
drop the story. So, not everybody can do it, but others can.
Kaya,
Pero it trains people, no?
Kaya nga,
Good training.
Jimmy, sa Benilde, saka sa UST, pinauso ko, Lord ang tawagan namin, Lord.
Diba? Mas mataas pa. Mas mataas pa
Lord
sa
Len.
sir.
Pinauso ko yung Bong sa UST, saka sa Benilde, Lord ang tawagan namin.
My Lord. Okay.
Guys, may questions pa ba? Mukhang tahimik naman mga estudyante. Miss Pompey, your student. Oo, mga nahihiya. Sir Radine.
Guys, this is an anything goes Q&A na. It doesn't matter if it's
right
firms,
or wrong.
small firms or whatever. Just anything.
Hindi ba kayo curious kung paano si Sir, kung saan nagbabayad ng na bank si Sir para dun sa mga SSS pag-ibig and all? Medyo college ko, diba?
When I gave the talk of Christine in Christine's class, somebody asked me, Sir, anong ginagamit niyong pen sa mga drawing pag nagdo-draw? Somebody asked me that question.
Pilot. V7.
What happened? I had my Pilot V-Ball with
V7.
me. This is what I use.
Tanda ko yan.
I gave it to
Sir,
that
do you still
student.
have your sharpener, your pencil sharpener on the?
Yes, I do. Of course, my manual sharpener.
Yeah, your manual sharpener.
Yeah, it's stuck on my wall somewhere
It's
here.
still
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
My lucky pencils for my board exam.
Oh yeah, that became a ritual. Before they take board exams, they bring their pencil to me. Sir, can you sharpen this? So I sharpen it. Manual sharpener.
Yeah. I would also like to share, no, diba, Bong, you showed you watering the grass, no, in columbarium. And I just want to share this with your permission, Bong, that si Bong Recio, nakikinig pa yan ng Coldplay, no? He knows how to sing Yellow. I mean to say, ganun ka-diversified in music. He has a electric guitar in his office.
Nice.
For information. And then he also sings Coldplay.
No, but really, to me, music has always been an inspiration for me, especially with my architecture. No, if I can do anything with music, I'll do it with music, even while I'm taking a shower, while I'm working, I'm in the car, I'm walking, whatever. If I can do it with music, I will listen to music.
Nice. Yeah.
More questions?
Question.
Mga to. Sir, students mo, Sir Radine.
Lilima?
Sino ba nandyan?
Sir Bong, do you accept apprentices? Yan.
Not now. Not at this time.
Depends.
Not at this time. Yeah. I think when things are really a little bit more relaxed, then we can open that up again. But not at this time.
Face-to-face.
Yeah.
Okay. So, hopefully, pag balik na sa normal, we can have you na ulit for our apprentices.
Sure.
Yay!
Love to.
So guys, ayan. Ay, kaya lang graduate na kayo by that time.
Also,
what year are these students we're talking to? Fifth year ba?
Fourth, fifth.
Fourth and fifth. Okay.
Also, earlier, Bong was saying na he would check the doodles of the employees in each table, no? I think that's a sign of a good mentor, no? Parang gusto maging teacher. Diba?
Tama ka na dyan. Rodin, kanina ka pa, ha?
Teacher na lang daw.
Magpuro, di ba?
Kanina ka pa.
Style lang yun, parang... I'm sure he'll be a very good,
That's a
part-time
great idea.
professor, no? Kung may time
Yeah.
lang.
Definitely.
Mm.
Kasi
Yeah.
sir, may professional track naman kami. So if you are interested, share, yun. Just
I
let
hear
me
you.
know.
I hear you.
Yes, sir.
That'll be great.
Yan man ang sabi ko agad. Nasa professional track tayo. So, madaling. We would love to learn a lot from you. Ayun. Questions pa, guys? Actually, Sir Jimmy, sobrang nakakatuwa yung presentation mo earlier. Kahit wala ka. Parang ang daming, biglang, oo nga, no? Yung mga ganon na
Right.
sobrang, you have to work in every detail and every department. Pero, ang hirap nun.
Sabi ko sa kanila, Jimmy, if I were a fresh graduate today and I would go look for a job, I'd probably go apply in your office.
Yeah.
Totoo. Multitask.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Parang paglabas sa firm mo, sobrang independent na sila. Kaya na nilang dumiscuss on their own. Yung ganon. Ang galing.
That's what I experienced when I did my training there at Heredia. Because we were a small firm, so I was the gopher there. I was the youngest there, of course. So I was doing everything. I was involved in everything. Tinuruan nila ako mag-detail, mag-design, ganyan, printing, and all of that. So it was a great experience.
Sir, manual pa ba nun? Manual drafting?
Of course, of course.
Yes.
Bakit? Hanggang ngayon, manual drafting pa rin ako.
Oh,
Freehand
wow.
drawing pa rin ako. Excuse me, yeah.
Basta translate na lang, ikakad na lang.
Yeah.
Wow. Guys, yun yung mga na-miss nyo ngayon. Kasi lahat sila CAD na eh.
Computers.
Yeah.
3D softwares. Yun eh. Pero,
I'd like to add something as well. Like when I worked at Rchitects Inc., I think it was really important that the principal architect, always took care of the employees. Like he was always, if he'd go on a trip, he might pasalubong. Nag-iikot siya sa office. Mimigay ng pasalubong. So I think it's really important to sort of value your employees, because if they stay with you, then that's a plus for your company as well, like loyalty for your firm.
Yeah,
Ako ba yung nire-refer mo,
that's all.
Emma?
You see, that's all they remember, the pasalubong.
The pasalubong. Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Ako ba yung nire-refer mo, Emma? Ako ba o si Bong?
Si
Both.
Bong po, Sir Bong. Hindi ikaw.
Ano ko ako?
Wala akong pasalubong nun, sir.
Sorry.
but yes, good conversation starts with food din eh. So important yung pasalubong na yun. Mas nagiging...
By the way, Bong, si Emma is now working for Mega World.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know.
At tama.
He
Siguro
knows.
ikaw ginawa niya referral, no? Tinawagan ka ng HR.
Nag-character reference.
Personally, ayan. Okay, students kita nyo, nag-OJT lang si Emma and ginamit niya si Architect Bong as character reference.
Tanggap na.
Personally siya he answered. I mean, he was applying for Mega World.
Yeah, answered the call. Kaya siguro nagduda sila bago ko tanggapin. Kasi si Sir Bong yung kinausap.
And I think Bong, now they're handling more of, employees ni Melo, yung mga kaharap ni Emma.
Ni Emma.
I'm holding one of your projects sa Mactan.
Okay.
For
Architects.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Architects.
Erika, I'll have to leave in like 5 minutes. Sorry, I would have to be somewhere at 2:30.
Okay po. Wait, before we end, I think wala naman na pong questions.
Wala na.
We can now proceed to the awarding of certificates.
Oh.
Sir Aldous will just award the certificate and then...
Erika, before you start, can you send me the contact numbers of Jimmy?
Yes, sir. Sige.
I want to stay in touch with him. Thank you.
Sir.
Okay.
So, okay.
I'm back here, sir.
Sige sir, send na lang po ng PM na lang yung number.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
the LaSalle College
Okay.
of Benilde would like to present this certificate of appreciation to architect Jaime Hermogenes for sharing his invaluable knowledge on BARC webinar series, Professional Practice Talks, Big and Small Architectural Firm Practices. This July 2nd, 2022 via Zoom, signed by our program chair, architect Ven Lawrence T. Quezon, and Associate Dean Architect Harvey A. Vasquez. Thank you, guys. Let's give Architect Jimmy a virtual applause.
Okay.
Next
Thank
is
you.
we present this certificate of appreciation to Architect Sir next
Thank you.
Pedro Recio for sharing his invaluable knowledge on our Propra Talks, Big and Small Practice. Today via Zoom, again, signed by Architect Quezon and Architect Vasquez. So virtual applause again, guys. Thank you very much. So before we end, I would like to ask Sir Vin for the closing remarks.
Magko-closing remarks pa ako. Ako na nga yun.
Ikaw magsasara.
Thank you.
Oh, okay na
Thank you,
yan.
goodbye.
So thank you and goodbye, guys. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Architect Bong, thank you. Sir Jimmy, maraming salamat kahit sobrang busy mo today. And I hope you guys learned a lot. I appreciate this. Sobrang nakaka-inspire na parang it's still not too late for anyone and everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Whatever you want. So yun, guys.
Thank you, Jimmy. It was great co-paneling with you, Erika. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Pompey, good to see you.
Yes, same.
Ben, nice seeing you again.
Emma.
Rodin.
Belated happy birthday,
Rodin, magbago ka na.
Bong.
Bago ka na, Rodin.
Belated happy birthday kay Bong.
Thank
June
you.
29. Belated happy birthday.
Belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another run.
That's it for today. Let's
Thank
all
you all.
again meet next week. Sir Bong, I hope this is not the last. We'll invite you again, maybe next term.
Hey, belated happy birthday.
Belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye, guys. Thank you for attending. Bye.
Thank you po.